And we don't have any information available at this point as to exactly why police are chasing this vehicle. He has been speeding up and slowing down. You can see that traffic is pretty thick there, so he's not going to be able to make an absolute clean getaway, and in fact he won't make any kind of a getaway at all. The choppers are on him, the police are behind him, so at some point this will end when the driver chooses to have it end. But it is underway on the 710 freeway. It's been going on for approximately 20 minutes. It's just after 9 in the morning right now in California. As you can see, the rush hour traffic still pretty thick there. The vehicle, apparently it was a failure to yield, which is why this began. It's a black Cadillac, as we understand. You can see him there zooming off around some of the traffic and onto some kind of an on-ramp. So clearly he's going to pick another freeway and maybe hopes that he will have a little better success there. But again, the eyes in the sky are on this guy, and we'll continue to watch it. Once again, Paramount, California. Harris Faulkner has some more information from the breaking news desk. Harris?
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add right now because they are in the middle of this whole thing, and getting them on the phone right now has been pretty tough. But I can tell you that black Cadillac, as you said, took off for a failure to yield and has come to a complete stop more than once during this chase. It looks like now they are looping around to a different freeway, possibly the 10. We're not quite sure from this vantage point. But that Cadillac has not really reached very high speeds, but they've still stayed away. You know, this is potentially a very dangerous situation no matter what, because the person behind the wheel is so unpredictable. And what you don't want, as you see here, is that person entering intersections and cars just being paralyzed, not knowing which way to go. I've been listening to they follow this car. Police have not really moved in all that much other than to try to box him in, but not necessarily to even get out. We haven't seen any guns drawn. I mean, he was stopped for at least 20 seconds at one point, but on the freeway. So you can't exactly get out across 4 lanes of traffic. Now he's picked an area that is not as populated, and we're seeing him pick up, him or her, we don't know, behind the wheels. Now he's picking up some speed, and I'm listening to the chopper pilot say, yeah, they're having to pick up speed to try to catch up with him as well.
Maybe we can listen into that pilot as well if they're saying anything of interest. Let's give it a try.
One of the things worth noting, and again, we'll listen for the pilot's voice as
that's exactly right. We picked it up down to the Long Beach area. We had just launched for fuel at about 7:40, 7:45-ish. We think it perhaps started maybe 5 or so minutes prior to that down in the Long Beach area. We first heard of the pursuit on the northbound 710, just north of the 405 down near Del Amo. Now he's slowing down again, and there's really no reason for him to slow down. This is a situation where you're not seeing a lot of other cars around that they might want to try to make a move. They might want to try that pursuit intervention technique where they try to bump him from the side, and now they're going to try to get around him here.
That pursuit
and
intervention
we're traveling
technique.
In a westbound direction still here in on Bandini, still in the Vernon area.
That's when a police car will nudge the rear fender of the car, one side or the other, basically try to spin the car out. The officer will use his car to push the rear fender one way or the other. The driver loses traction and spins out, and it's a way to bring these to a halt without catastrophic damage. They just simply nudge the car, the rear wheels, out of position.
And, you know, John and Jane, as many times as we've watched this, we see that they are, you know, a little reticent to kind of get involved with. There are a lot of people on the road. This is at the tail end of the rush hour out there.
Yeah, Harris,
so we've got drivers out.
I think we have Vince Ramirez for the California Highway Patrol on the phone with us. Mr. Ramirez, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you talk to us about exactly how this started, what we're looking at here?
Well, what we have is at about 8:36 this morning, this black Cadillac ran a red light in front of our CHP units and then proceeded to enter the southbound 405 freeway near LAX. And our units have been following this vehicle since.
Since we've been watching, the speeds have not been incredibly high. Has that been the case all along? And we were told this has been going on, well, I guess you just gave me the time, a little over just about a half hour or so, is that right?
That's correct. The speeds on the freeway did increase to approximately 100 miles per hour.
Oh, they did?
Yes. The vehicle has transitioned to 2 other
he certainly is,
freeways.
And there's no reason for him to do it.
710 northbound coming out of Long Beach. and looks like it passed the 91 and the 105. It then exited on a surface street and has been moving at slower speeds, stopping and then speeding up, stopping, speeding up.
Yeah.
And our units are just simply following the vehicle in the hopes that the driver of this vehicle simply stops and gives up or runs out of fuel.
It started with...
He stopped. They're getting out.
It started with a red light, and yes, the vehicle is
and they're now
stopped.
getting out.
Is the driver getting out? I don't see that.
The driver's not
driver's
getting
taking
out,
off, Harris. There he goes.
Right, but the police officers had gotten out of both their squads. You saw doors open on both squads. The car, the Cadillac, had come to a complete stop. They took the opportunity to try to get out. This may be why they didn't try to do this before, because the driver looks back and goes, aha, I got to get away again. And with them not being able to pursue him right away, look how much distance he's put between himself and those squad cars that were following, because they all had to jump back into their squads. So he or she played it very patiently and then got away again. They're catching up. The problem with this, too, for this particular driver, but good news for everybody else on the road, is he's picked a fairly clear street in the middle of trail-ending rush hour. John?
Mr. Ramirez, have you run the plates on this car? Do you know who this person is? Is it even his car?
We don't know who the driver is at this moment. We are not getting any reports that this is a stolen vehicle. Simply somebody who's out driving and who doesn't want to stop for one of our units.
And is it a man, and is it just one person?
We don't know. We have not been able to confirm the number of occupants in the vehicle just yet.
The erratic nature of the driving here has to concern you. As we said, it began with blowing through a red light. But as we just saw, the guy will stop completely dead in the street and then take off again. It could suggest anything, methamphetamines or some other kind of drugs. Just the fact that the driver is being so erratic must be pretty disturbing.
Yes, sir. The concern obviously is for our officers as well as for the public. The officers are in communication with our communications center. They're also in communication with other units as well as allied agencies, other police agencies. And again, we want to bring this to a safe conclusion. But again, we got to take the necessary precautions. We want to stay behind this vehicle. Obviously, there's a certain amount of distance that we have to stay away from this vehicle to prevent any injury to our officers. But again, our officers are evaluating the situation constantly, and they will take that
he's playing a cat and mouse
necessary.
game with these cops.
Right. We just saw one of the officers bump the suspect vehicle. It appeared to be an attempt at the pit maneuver to spin it around and maybe bring it to a stop, but it didn't seem to work.
That's, yes. Normally, we don't like to do that at high speeds, obviously. But we're on surface streets here, and if the conditions warrant the pit, well, our officers will take the necessary action. But at this point, obviously, we would like to see the individual come to a stop on their own.
For people, Mr. Ramirez, who aren't familiar with Southern California, we were told our latest information was this is Vernon, California. Can you describe exactly where that is? I know you said it started initially near LAX, the airport.
Yes, ma'am. Vernon is actually a small town just north of the Long Beach area. Anybody familiar with Long Beach? That's the port here in Los Angeles where most of the ships come in. So Vernon would be maybe 15 to 20 miles north of Long Beach. Maybe southeast of downtown Los Angeles.
Guys, can I ask Officer Ramirez a quick question? Because as I watch this, I made the comment a couple seconds ago that this driver seems to be playing cat and mouse. Is this something that you've seen, Officer Ramirez, where somebody just slows down, waits for the cops just to kind of etch? It's like a game.
Unfortunately, that's what this individual appears to be doing. And all they're doing is really increasing. They're increasing the amount of counts against them. Here looks like we have just performed the pit maneuver. Hopefully this individual stays in the vehicle and we can bring him out safely.
And you were saying that increases the amount of charges potentially against him every time he sort of gets close and gets away.
Right. Every time he runs the red light, every time he makes unsafe movements, whether it be speeding or cutting other vehicles off. I mean, you're talking about different counts, different vehicle code violations. And obviously, if at any point he threatens our officers, that's another count against him as well.
What are they saying to him right now, do you think?
Well, from this viewpoint, looks like they were just talking him out of the vehicle. Looks like he's complying. Our officers obviously have their guns pointed, but looks like he is obeying their commands.
Wow. Good job to the CHP and the other agencies involved.
And thank you to Vince Ramirez as well for talking us through